Hello dear friends, my name is Leo, in case you don't know my name, and if you are first time on my channel, I do videos about my life, about the subjects which interest me, and these subjects are listed on my personal website, which you can find under the address leoloveis.me. And today I would like to talk about onboarding in the companies. So basically for people who are still working jobs 9 to 5, 6 to 3, so basically any fixed amount of hours which people work in the offices, physically being present there. And the best onboarding which I ever had in my life until now was in American company which sells semiconductors and processors and servers and so further and so on, and the company name is Intel. So I got the best onboarding within this company in the UK. So basically I was working there as a hardware engineer, as a support engineer at the beginning, and then as a technical marketing engineer. So, and at the initial stage, from the day one, I was presented with a physical file which comprised of, I would say, the most important things I needed to know about the site, about the job, about the tools I can use, about the benefits I can use, so fitness and so further and so on, the websites where I can get additional information. And I was really prepared for my job the best possible way. So basically, as I said, maybe I'm idealizing it now because quite a lot of time has passed. However, as I said, as I remember it, and I remember it quite vividly, it was the best onboarding I ever had within any company I worked since. And currently I work for one international concern in hospitality, and I work in a hotel at the front office. And unfortunately, in the current hotel, the onboarding was limited to handing out to me a welcome box, which comprised of some edible goodies, a notebook, a physical notebook where I can write something by hand, and some other stuff. So basically welcome box, and that pretty much what was done on onboarding per se. Yeah. And I didn't know the system in the hotel, so I got almost none training before I started to work with the software, and I had to learn, so to say, on the fly. So basically either be drawn or learn how to swim. And because I'm not new in the hospitality, I worked in various hotels in various countries, and I worked with various software systems. So basically the general idea is always more or less the same. It's just a realization of the software by different companies is somewhat different. And that's why when you change your jobs, or when one changes one's job, it's always like it always needs some time before one can understand the systems, software systems, and one can understand the processes within each of the hotels. So basically, majority of the hotels work somewhat differently. So the processes which are used in the hotels are somewhat different, and one needs to know that. However, if onboarding is not that great, it's your own initiative which you have to show. You have to ask a lot of questions. You have to approach a lot of people to get the information which could have been handed down to you within a form of a hardware, old hardware folder, like really hardware folder in plastic, in paper, whatever. So hard folder with all these informations, or within, I don't know, electronic form on a intranet, where it would be like, okay, you are a newbie in front office. These are the most important informations which you have to know, which you need to know to do your job perfectly. And unfortunately, within this particular hotel where I currently work, it wasn't the case. It isn't the case, unfortunately. And I had to ask for pretty much everything what I needed to know. So there was not really handing out of information per se, because if I had questions, I had to ask them, and then I would get answers. However, from my point of view, it would have been much better and easier for me to do my job if I had those informations. So basically, and then for the management, it would have been better as well, at least from my point of view, because then they could ask me and tell, look, we gave you this information, and the questions you asked, they're actually to be found in there, and you had this information per se, it is there. So yes, some people are not good at reading, some people are not good at learning, some people are not good at reading and learning, and for those people this information needs to be told several times, and again, repetition is a mother of learning. So even the brightest people of us need some kind of repetition for some things, because not all information remains stuck in your brain from the very first time you see, from the very first time you perform the task. And to ingrain this information into your brain, you need to perform certain tasks several times before it becomes part of your nature, before it becomes a habit. And unfortunately, for some tasks, it is not a case where you can repeat a particular task over the course of, let's say, the same days, because one particular task can happen, let's say, within 1 week, and then doesn't happen for several months and then come again. But if you didn't do it several times, it might become forgotten. And if you didn't take a track of that properly, if you didn't write it down, if you didn't practice this a certain amount of time, it might become forgotten. And in the hospitality, sometimes there are cases where you don't always work with supervisors, especially on the weekends, where the supervisors from front office are no longer present. And in this case, it becomes even more difficult to perform the task to the best capacity if one has forgotten something, if one hasn't do some particular task for several times, and it's not ideal. So basically what I'm trying to say, to bring new people up to speed as quickly as possible, I guess should be a task of any organization, be it hospitality, be it software programming, software development, hardware development, whatsoever. So the quicker the person learns to perform the tasks, the better it is for the whole company, from my personal point of view. And yeah, some people are great at it, some managers are great at it, some companies are great at it, and some managers are not that great at it. Some companies are not that great at it, and there's always a space for improvement. So I really love the main company which I work for, huge concern, which the hotel belongs to, because of the philosophy and the mission and vision. It strongly appeals to me. However, the local realization of this mission and vision and everything, due to various reasons, is different. So there are people who perform the task differently, and I already blogged about that on my website. I had a blog post about that, so if you're curious about that, you can take a read. You can read about that. So in summary, it is so if the person is not high enough on the Maslow pyramid, or on the Maslow hierarchy of needs, if the person is still at the very bottom of it, the person doesn't really care about mission, vision of the company. The main concern of these individual might be survival in the form of getting salary, and from salary to salary, and that's it. And there are also some older folks who were used to doing their job in a certain way, and there are certain changes which they simply deny to integrate into their life, into their job, and it is somewhat a problem as well. So we always did it this way, why should we change? It's one of the phrases which is being used quite frequently. So, or at the previous times it ran better, and so forth and so on. And I see quite a lot of food waste, for example, within various hotels. The smaller hotels with sustainability in mind manage it better, because the teams are manageable and the size is manageable of the team. However, the bigger hotels somewhat are not doing a great job at it, because there are some people who just waste food, some people who waste materials, resources, energy and so forth and so on. And to change that, from my point of view, one has to show a strong reason for change, and one has to explain the need for change. And there is quite often the problem blindness by many people in various positions, be it of entry-level jobs up to the higher management. So, and if the person doesn't buy into the major vision or mission, then it is even more problematic from my point of view. Okay, so what has started as an onboarding turned out to become a rant about sustainability and needs for change, and it's actually quite a good topic to talk about. Yeah, so I don't want to make it a lengthy video. Thank you very much for watching. I would love to hear your opinion about that, your comments about that, and if you would like to contact me, you can find my contact data on my website, and I have username an account on Instagram and Facebook, and this username at those platforms is very easy to remember. It is Leo Love is me. So feel free to connect with me there, contact me there, and if you have to say something constructive about that, feel free to do that. So, and also I really love the phrase, which is attributed to various nations, but I know it from Ireland. If one cannot improve the silence, one shouldn't speak. So if one cannot improve the silence, one shouldn't speak. So if you have to say something, then feel free to contact me. If you have to say something constructive and something useful, something kind, feel free to contact me. However, if you're a troll, please be troll and be quiet. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you will see my further videos. Have a nice day. Bye bye.